And what's the difference between now and the time you started to play? How do you start to play? How do you learn the first chord, first note, melodies?
Well, that's a good question. I have a brother. I have three brothers. One of my brothers is 8 years older than me. When I was 4 years old, he was 12. Those are my early memories. And I wanted to be around him and to be with him. And he was fascinating to me, just as little brothers looking up to big brothers. Almost everything they do looks cool. And I was transfixed by sound, the shape of a guitar, shape of a woman. It was magical because that was in 1968. And in America, it was still kind of like a civil rights movement going on. There was a black awareness movement going on, being black and being proud, and you know, making a stake back in music from rock and roll back to like soul music or what would become funk music. And there were bands on every block, So once again, there was no YouTube, there was no internet. So people made their own adventures in the neighborhood. So, some were athletes, basketball or base. Well, back then, the most popular sport for black kids would be football first, then baseball, then later basketball. Some people were in gangs or had little clubs that they would be involved in. And some were musicians. So if you were a kid, you kind of fell into one of those three pieces. And luckily for me, my brother and my brothers, they were into the music piece. And their friends would come by and play in our living room. It probably was no bigger than this. And they would say, "Don't bother my guitar." And they would
Don't
leave.
touch.
And what would I do? I would touch.
Sure.
And then I got caught. And then my brother, he took my fingers and he put them across the guitar. I did this. He say, "Play this here," and he wasn't angry.
Nice.
you
Nice.
know. And so February 6th, 1970, my Uncle Jackson took me to a inexpensive department store after school,
What a memory.
and he said, "Which one do you want?" And I picked a Sunburst Tiesco, and he said, "Don't you want?" The salesman said, "Don't you, an amplifier?" And the amplifier was about the size of a shoebox.
Yeah.
And I got that, and then I got a guitar strap and a cord and a bunch of guitar picks. And that was the start.